Hello everyone, this is Travis Schneider with the Cardboard Gamers podcast, and I'm getting some videos going for you all. Today I'm going to be doing my second unboxing. I just got a Kickstarter in from IDW Games I'm pretty excited about. So I've already popped open the main box here just to make it a little easier to get this started, and we'll open each of these other boxes as we go along. See exactly how everything is packed and what's in these boxes. So here we go. So this comes straight from IDW, not from a different distributor or a shipper that I noticed. And let's see, packaged pretty tightly, which is nice. Very nice, actually, to be packaged nice and tight. Looks like they have some expansions and stretch goals sitting on top here. Two different boxes. I've seen that every now and then where a game has so much content that they throw the stretch goals into another box and even make a nice little package for it. And below that, let's take that piece of cardboard off. Let me straighten up just a tad for you. Okay, that's the main box under here. Oh, that's kind of tough actually to move out of there, so let me Alright guys, big old box. So I'm not sure if you are not familiar with Galaxy Hunters. It is essentially like a Pacific Rim themed board game, but less of a war skirmish game and more of like a, I think if I recall, it's been a while since I watched all the videos for this, but almost more of a worker placement Euro game with the theme of big robots versus monsters throughout the galaxy. So that's the base box there. Yeah, I guess we'll start with that, popping that one open first, and then see what's in there, and then move on to the expansion boxes. So just do a small pop here on the plastic, just so I can get it off. Kind of wish games would stop using plastic wrap on everything. It's a little annoying. All the plastic that you have to throw away. I mean, I'm already, so many inserts and things you're tossing as well. But oh well. Let's see. It's a pretty heavy box. So I know there's a lot of content in here. So yep, we got our rule book here. Nothing, of course, too special. It's a rule book. Looks like they got stuff broken down pretty well in here. It's like a sheet of tokens here, and they are, looks like there's 2 sheets of tokens inside this little sleeve. And they are double-sided with some other icons on them. I believe that the creatures will kind of spawn across the board, and there may be a little bit of like hidden information on what they are. I'm not sure on that. All right, some other boards here. Looks like these may be player boards or something. Not quite sure. Both of those are in little plastic sleeves as well, that of course are going to be tossed. It would be kind of nice actually if these products instead would use those little paper rings that go around pieces to keep them all in place, rather than those plastic sleeves that are just always going to be tossed, typically, because the vents of those stickers is a sticky part to give away and they don't really protect anything. Alright, so here is the game board here. Exactly, there's a little bit of something, like a little mark on there. It comes with glue? Not super noticeable, just under a certain light. I don't know if y'all can see this. There's a little speck of something on there. Maybe some sort of glue from the factory here. Uh-oh. I don't like to look at this. Hold on, let's look at this board here. So the board's only one-sided. And it is, the galaxy you will be playing on. Different planets, locations for your pieces. Looks like there's spots denoted for the number of players you're playing with. That sort of thing. Various tracks, spots for cards, all kinds of fun stuff there. So make sure I fold this up right, because I've had a couple boards where I started to fold the wrong way because you couldn't really tell, and then it started to split the board here. All right, so inside the box, we have a heavy-duty plastic tray, it looks like. Or relatively heavy-duty, heavy enough. Unfortunately, apparently it doesn't hold very tight, at least during the shipment, because everything was loose and has fell out. Wow, these guys see some really tight. The spots are pretty tight for these hexes, like really tight, actually. Huh. So let's see here. So we've got different mech boards, as you see here. Unfortunately, I'm going to just throw all this stuff to the side, all these hexes, because I don't know where they'll all go. They're all kind of out of order here. I know it's like different types of upgrades and things you get across the game, because you're getting to upgrade your characters, upgrade your mechs. So you have different mech boards. So all the mech boards have just slight differences in their stats here, like weapons, shields, and life, or something along those lines. They're double-sided, and I think the back, it looks like it's just a small description of the mech itself. There's like class, weight, height, all that sort of stuff. Probably not relevant to the game whatsoever. And there are different figurines for the different mechs in here, as you can see. So I'll pop those out here in one moment. Then you have different pilot boards as well, which are going to have unique abilities. And I do believe there's something where you're kind of like putting the hexes together in some way, because when you're getting upgrades, you're kind of placing them along the sides of your boards here. So there's some sort of limit to the upgrades. So you got 4 different characters, 4 different mechs. At least in the main box here. There's probably some in the expansion. Looks like a little stack of mini cards here. Top one, as I says, a mission. So you'll go around this galaxy completing missions, which is, I think, oftentimes fighting off monsters. Like this is a particular type of creature here that you're going to be trying to eliminate on the board somewhere. There's all these different types. That's what all these mission cards appear to be. And then, looks like you're in here, this stack as well, you've got some unique character cards of sorts. Maybe assistants, sniper, banker, smuggler, etc. And they are also, of course, double-sided because they're cards with a different back to them for the characters and the monsters. I do wish the color scheme was a little different on the characters, because it's like a grayish blue, and it's identical on both the back of these cards. The symbol's different, so not a huge deal. You can tell the difference pretty easily. But, you know, just one little extra feature to make the things more distinguishable would have been nice. No big deal, though. Now, if you notice here, they fit in this little slot pretty tight. There's a small gap, and I doubt that gap is big enough for sleeves, though, unfortunately, if you're going to sleeve your cards. I don't know if I will or not. These do appear to be linen finished, and usually those are okay, and also depends on how much shuffling you got to do in the game. Alright, so let's see what else we got in this box. So we've got ship tokens, or pawns. So, not the most exciting shapes for ships. They're all the same shape, just different colors. For the production value of the game, it would be nicer if these had maybe something screen printed on them, or different shapes for the different factions. Would have been kind of cool, but not a big deal, I guess. This green, blue, black, and yellow. Standard, and red as well. Standard colors. Actually, the white and black one's only one of each, so that must be for something else. Some tiny little translucent discs. That's not a component I'm going to probably love, because I can see those getting lost real easily, or being like, I mean, unless you have to see what's through, so you see through these on the board somewhere. But those will slide around a lot real easily. Now the cubes here, as you saw on the mech boards, you've got the blue, red, and green zones here for tracking some stats on your mech. So these cubes are of those 3 colors, and I do believe these will all go on those boards in some way. And these are actually pretty nice as far as resource cubes go. They're a little bit bigger than your wooden cubes, translucent, kind of a smoky texture. for the different color cubes. A couple empty spots here, probably for all the tokens, which I actually need to check those tokens because I think I heard there may have been some production issues there. So here are the mech figures that are in the base game. You've got, you know, a mech with a gun on his arm and a sword attached to him with some wings. You know, some standard mech designs you've seen in a lot of these themes, whether it's games or anime. Kind of a heavier duty mech here. I think this guy's just kind of just a quick gunner. Here's like a heavy gunner with a couple guns on his back as well. And of course all these hexes in here, which they look good as far as the print quality goes and the texture and everything. Some of the edges look a little rough. Probably from the factory punches. Hopefully it's not too bad. You know, I don't think most of them seem clean overall. So it's probably not a big deal. But they are kind of like, you can see spots on the edge of this plastic here where these tiles have rubbed. They fit in there pretty tight. And for the most part, that's a good thing. But hopefully that does not increase the wear of the tiles. Art's really nice for the different creatures. Granted, it's going to be, you know, relatively abstract what you're doing with these creatures here when you're going around and trying to eliminate them for missions, rather than straight up, you know, giant battles between monsters and mechs that you'd see in other types of games, like skirmish-based board games or miniature games, where that's where the whole game is about, is the fight. This one is a bit more, like I said, a Euro-esque game with a more a Ameritrash theme, as if you will. Yeah, they kind of right up the top there, right on the edge. I'll have to go through and resort all these, unfortunately. So, yeah, see, that was tight. Okay, and then let's see here real quick before I close this one back up. All this is kind of supposed to go back in there. So these are they seem to be punching out pretty well. These all seem punched okay. I don't see any issues there. Usually I will, when I got punch boards in games, what I like to do is oftentimes punch the reverse direction. Because you can see here where it's more indented on these tiles. That's the direction that the puncher in a factory would go down on. Which is why it looks nice and flat on the other side, because that's where the paper would have been laid across this cardboard. So I usually like to punch the other direction, because if there is even the slightest snag, you can catch it kind of quickly, and usually it'll rip it pretty easily and cleanly from this direction rather than from the other direction. But these all seem okay. I don't see anything major unless I go to punch one of them out and it sticks. But someone told me there may have been some issues with sticking punch boards, and I don't see any major issues here anywhere. So I'm not gonna waste y'all's time with that. I'll get around to punching those later. Just wanted to double check while I had this open here. This looks like just to kind of throw this back in. So it looks like there is a spot here for, I see there's a cutout in this box where it looks like certain things are supposed to sit, maybe? Oh wow, I think that's, yeah, okay, there's little corners here and grooves all around this edge to allow you to fit these tiles back in the box. That's unfortunate because, okay, well, I understand the idea of that, and generally I like that. There's going to be two issues. First off, these little tiny components are still going to come up from around there and move all over the box. This lid is not going to keep those in place. There's no way. Especially there's gaps here too. So those are going to move unless you bag them up, which I will have to do. And unfortunately, this game did not come with little plastic baggies, which I have been seeing in more games lately, where they think ahead and like, hey, here's a couple baggies for you to help store your stuff. Because honestly, it doesn't make sense for game companies to sell you board games with a bunch of components looking at you at Fantasy Flight Games and then no way to store them in your game. That's kind of BS, to be honest, I think, to sell somebody a product that's just like a box full of pieces, like a, you know, if it was a puzzle or a Lego set maybe, but that's not what these games are. These are all self-contained products. Oh well, that's why a company like Broken Token exists, which I'm fond of their products as well, because they offer usually better solutions than some of the companies that give you sort of a storage solution. So yeah, so each of these are going to slide in here, looks like, right back in. The thing is, this top one is pretty loose. Like, it's going to come off. That's just why, just like these tiles are loose on the top as well. That's why you saw when I opened this box, there were pieces everywhere from the shipment. Oh, these ought to go back in here as well. For now. And then this is supposed to slide back on here because it doesn't look like these other boards will fit in there because there's a lip on this thing. It looks like this is supposed to pop back in there. So yeah, yep, already moving around. Like, this is not going to hold this in. And I don't see, like, these boards, they might fit in there, but there's still some gaps here. They're going to move around some on the inside. And there's a lip in here to store some boards as well. Because these were actually on the outside when I opened it to begin with. I'm not really sure what their storage plan was here. I mean, like, overall. Like, other than the basic principle of, hey, put stuff in this box, in these holes, and hope it all sticks together. Yeah, because these won't fit in that little slot either. Yeah, probably going to be some loose parts in this. Something I used to do with old games, because I think it was Lords of Waterdeep that mentioned this in the rulebook, which is kind of funny. You take the punch boards, after you punch the components out, and you put them underneath the insert. Because it lifts that insert up against the top of the box to keep things from moving around, at least it's supposed to. And I believe Lords of Waterdeep recommends that in the rulebook, to take the punch boards and put them underneath it. I think that was the game I saw that in. It was the first time I'd ever seen something like that. And then I started doing that with a lot of games because I realized, oh, all that extra gap that they leave in a box for these full boards is going to be, be a problem once you go to close it up after you punched everything. So, yeah. I mean, fortunately, everything does fit, and there are a couple compartments that are room for tokens. But if there's any other figures in these expansions, but I think they are. This is pretty heavy. These are both got some weight to them. They're not going to fit in the main box, which is very unfortunate because I much prefer all the pieces to fit in one box rather than having to carry around a bunch of different boxes. So, unfortunately, what's probably going to happen is that insert's going to be coming out completely, and then making my own storage solution if this game is something I want to hold on to. Which I think I'm going to like the gameplay quite a bit. We shall see, though. Alright. Now on to... Let's see, let's go with the expansions first, then we'll end with the stretch goals. So let me pop off this plastic. Put this little cut here in the corner. More shrink wrap. Galaxy Hunters, New Ways to Hunt. Game by Daniel Alves. Or Alves, who knows. Okay. And I actually recently heard that IDW apparently is going to be shutting down their game division. So, after the Batman game, which is due later this year, that is supposedly going to be the last game. I guess we shall see. Which seems kind of odd to me because they've been pretty successful, as far as I know, with their games. So, let's... Yep, another little mini rulebook to kind of tell you about the expansion pieces here. Looks like we've got something new with these tokens that represent characters and aliens. Another little plastics envelope here. I'm not going to pop this one open. Another one of these boards. I'm guessing, does this bump to maybe this is play to 5 players with this? That doesn't make a lot of sense, though. Not really sure why there's so many of these. I have to check the rules on that. That's 5 of those things. And this, I don't know, I'm curious to wonder if this game would work with that many people. It may not even be designed for that. Yeah, this. So, here it is. So this box is so tight that I could not get my fingers in here to pull this lid off. So, not the most helpful. I still have to yank it all apart to get to it. So this one didn't move around as bad. They have the grooves in here for all the pieces to hold. But again, I'm not going to want to keep 3 boxes for this one game. So yeah, like I thought, another mech, Iron Smoker. This guy here. So each mech in this game has their own unique board. These figures are actually really nice. Like they're well sculpted, and they're solid plastic. They're not super flexible. I mean, they're not the type of plastic that would just break on you by touching it on a table. through, you know, a little extra impact or something. Got a little flex to them, so they're not going to just snap on you, but they are hard enough to hold some detail and be nice solid figures here, which is good. And I didn't see on any of them where the plastic was just kind of starting to warp because it was too soft of a plastic. And you know, if you were to paint these, it'd be pretty easy. A lot of room there to work. And then each character has their own board attached to it, so they're on that board with their stats on the back. More character boards. Wow, 6 character boards. Actually, no, I'm wrong. 1 character board, and this is some sort of new expansion. This is an ambassador board. That's what those little guys were. They had ambassadors to the game. Yeah, yep. There's like 5 of them. So yeah, this must another player color. This adds a 5th player to the game. That's crazy. And some more cubes here. These are specifically for these ambassador boards because you can see the colors on the board of where the cubes are going to go. And Mech combat panels, player boards, and full ambassador. Yep. So it's Mech combat panels, but this is this is definitely an add-on for the game. It says something about here deploying ambassadors. These are spots for the ambassadors. That's why I'm going to call it the ambassador board for now, even if it has a somewhat different name. They call it a combat panel. Ah, this is the one that adds some sort of dice to the game. So you're going to be able to have ambassadors as well as some sort of dice mechanic for combat, because I don't believe the base game does not have combat dice. It uses something else to deal with combat with your creatures. It may even let you fight other players. I don't know. Something else to look into. It's been, you know, like all these Kickstarters, they come out a year or 2 later after you back them, so you kind of forget some of the mechanics. But yep, this was definitely another player box, too, because another little bitty translucent purple disc for that 5th player. And I'm not sure if I'll ever would actually play it with 5 players, because 5 players in some games just takes so long, and if there's a lot of downtime between turns, unless the experience is really, really worth it, 5 players is not probably going to happen. And that one fits in. It's still kind of loose, but it was pretty tight with that lid. It's not going anywhere in this box, but I'm not keeping this box, though. I'm not carrying around all this stuff. That's something I'm tired of games doing, is giving you all these extra contents and no way to really put them together in your main game. Now, if the expansion content is almost a standalone game, I get it at that point. But just single expansions, I don't love it. And that box wasn't even perfect. It was falling apart when we opened it from the factory. So this is the stretch goal box. I don't know if this stuff will be available at retail at some point. I mean, if IDW discontinues their game division, there may not be a lot of this available after the Kickstarter. So this is a different type of box here, rather than the normal game box with the slip-off lid. This is actually a flip box, which I like that quite a bit for some smaller games like this, because they hold together better when you're carrying around. If you drop this upside down, it's not going to pop open on you. And these boxes aren't that expensive to make. Granted, they don't look as nice as the big boxes, but we're not buying games for the boxes. And I guarantee you can do a lot with boxes when it comes to printing, if they really wanted to, on the inside and everything else. So let's see here. Stretch goals, rulebooks, so some references for the cards and components that are in here. New pilots, new corporation cards, new weapons. Another token sheet for a different type of creature that can be in the game, because each monster has some sort of corresponding icon in color. Looks like this one got loose as well, unfortunately. I just, at that point, just don't do it at all if your trays aren't going to hold together. Yeah, these seem cut okay as well. I'm not sure what these cards are for. I don't think there's cards like this in the other game, unless there's some sort of solo game. More mission cards for the stuff in this box. That's the creature that's in here. This little rock tree golem type monster. Yep. And these tiles are they're all kind of randomly assorted in here, so I guess I'm going to have to probably go through then and make sure everything is matches that's supposed to be in this box. I mean, I don't typically do full out component checks on games because that's usually very, very tedious and oftentimes feels unnecessary. But every now and then there's something you feel like you're missing that's just kind of critical. So I'll probably at least do a count. So it looks like we got some more mechs. Looks like 4 new mechs. I mean, this one's named Maximus. I think we know what this one was inspired from. Starfire. The name sounds familiar, but I don't know if that design looks all that familiar to me. Black Wasp. Lightning Angel. Some more pilots. Doesn't look like the actual pilots have any sort of bio on the back of them. That would have been kind of cool if they wanted to really develop the mythos of Galaxy Hunters and make this more of an established universe that they could use for other products. Or even in its IDW, if they want to do a comic book line with this game, which would have been incredible, to have a corresponding comic going along with the game to keep developing this universe. Because I guarantee you're going to have people who would buy both products to keep exploring it. Each of these characters should have had some sort of bio on the back. And then the mechs could have had a bit more information besides just the stats, but Kanatara, so yeah, got some of your alien species in here. And then here are your mech figures. Again, nicely made. Another winged mech. Looks like a dual pistol wielder. They did a fantastic job on the mech design, so I'm pretty pleased there. That's the only one that has a bit of a warp to it because it's this thin piece for this axe, which is why they probably put it on the ground rather than him holding upwards. Kind of surprised it is as thin as it is. I feel like the design would have been fine with a little bit of a thicker piece. And he's carrying the head of a creature, actually. Yeah. And then another bladed winged mech here with a shield and gun. And then this is the other dude, Starfire, I believe, the blade on his hand, and some sort of plate over this one. Because I don't know. So the mechs, as far as I know, they don't have any other special ability attached to them, just different stats. I don't think, unless the rules say otherwise, they come with any unique special abilities attached to the mech. Yeah, I don't believe so. So really, you're gonna, for the most part, I think your mech's gonna really be unique once you start building it throughout the game rather than at the start. Yeah, these are little check marks along the sides of the boards here. When you're adding your upgrades, I believe that corresponds with certain things triggering off your upgrades there. These are supposed to fit in here. There's a slot here for a card, and they put this big plastic thing here. So it doesn't actually fit in the slot, which is maybe partly why the whole lid popped off. So that goes in there. These punch out. There's not really a spot for punched out components in this box. Not that, again, it matters. So I'll probably end up doing is the main box, once I take the insert out, is finding a different way to put the figures in there. Maybe even get some sort of miniature foam insert like Felder makes. Yeah, and this rulebook has actually got a curve into it because of this type of box. Because the lip on the edge here hits the edge of the rules that are in there. Not a huge deal, but that's one of the negatives of this sort of box style. So you need that to be a little different, or you need your components to sit inside something so it doesn't get hit. So yeah, that's Galaxy Hunters. I'm really excited about the game, and the components overall do look really good. The storage solution, though, is not very well done. It's a nice attempt, but it has some shortcomings where pieces are falling out or are way too tight, and I can see the pieces getting damaged as you're trying to take stuff in and out of the box. The miniature sculpts are fantastic. They look great. And overall print quality is all good. Most of the illustrations look great. Some of the characters didn't look super interesting, but majority of them look good. And there's all these different things to keep track of on the board, but they seem very clearly defined, so hopefully that'll translate well when it comes to the gameplay. So, alright. Well, thank you all for watching, and stay tuned because I plan on getting some other games unboxed that have come in from Kickstarter as well, like my most recent one from After the Empire. Alright, have a good night. Quick little add-on to this unboxing to give you all some better detail of the miniatures here for the mechs. kind of all on display here. I'm going to come in close to each of them so you all can see them in much, much better detail. I noticed with my unboxing video, I was going a little quick and didn't get them all on camera super well, so I want you all to see them just a little bit better, because they are very nicely made. I'm pretty pleased with these designs here and the overall quality of the sculpts and the level, with the plastic type being kind of heavy, which will work nicely for keeping things sturdy and for painting and everything. They remind me of the mech miniatures for Starship Samurai from IDW Games, which are also done really well with some really nice quality and kind of heavier plastic. Definitely my preference in these games. So, yep, thank you all again, and I hope you enjoyed.